is the South Pole important? Why do we go down there? It is because the bottom of the world is an untouched reservoir of natural resources.
During the scorching summer of 1946, Admiral Richard E. Byrd led a daring expedition into the icy enigma of Antarctica, equipped with 13 ships and 25 airplanes. Although officially labeled as a scientific and military venture, speculation ran wild about hidden agendas, including assertions of U.S. dominance post and the pursuit of a rumored Nazi base harboring ancient technologies. Despite facing numerous challenges and a tragic plane crash, the operation hinted at efforts to safeguard the U.S. from potential extraterrestrial threats in the polar regions. Why is there an attempt to conceal Byrd's discoveries? Together, let's unravel the dangerous secrets Antarctica holds close to its frozen heart. A tale of ships, planes, and hidden agendas. After World War II, the USA wanted to ensure its continued power, including in Antarctica's icy realms. The fleet even brought an aircraft carrier, showing that this was more than just a peaceful exploration. The journey faced tough challenges. A sad crash of the Martin PBM-5 George I airplane took the lives of 3 brave explorers. This reminded everyone how risky exploring the poles could be, even with modern gadgets and maps. Admiral Byrd later hinted in an interview that the mission was also about keeping the USA safe from attacks coming from the poles. His words made it clear that the expedition had bigger aims, mixing discovery with preparing for any future dangers. After the mission, the world learned more about Antarctica, thanks to 49,000 photos taken from the ships. This paved the way for more explorations and mixed military goals with scientific research in these cold regions. But there's a twist in the tale. Some say this mission was trying to claim Antarctica for the USA, or even find and destroy a secret Nazi base rumored to be there. This base, known as Base 211, was thought to be in a part of Antarctica called New Swabia. The Germans had found this place before, noticing it had warm areas and plants, thanks to geothermal heat. Stories also tell of the Nazis seeking out powerful ancient relics and technologies around the world, aiming to use them to win wars. German Admiral Karl Donitz once bragged about a fortress in a remote area, which many think was in Antarctica. Adding to the mystery, some believe Admiral Byrd encountered UFOs or aliens there. These stories talk about him seeing advanced technology and creatures from another world. But these exciting tales don't have solid proof and are often seen as just part of UFO myths. Even though these stories are captivating, serious research hasn't found evidence of a Nazi base or alien meetings in Antarctica. The mission ended sooner than planned because of a tragic accident, leaving many questions unanswered. Officially, it was all about exploring and learning how to live in such a harsh place. Back in 1938, as tension was rising in Europe, Hitler sent out a secretive trip to Antarctica called the New Swabia Expedition. This mission aimed to explore unknown lands that might help Germany become self-reliant, especially in making whale oil, which was key for making important products like margarine and explosives during war times. The MS Schwabenland, not just any ship, but a special one for a secret journey, set sail with a crew of 33 people, plus its own 24 crew members. The team was led by Captain Alfred Richer, known for his naval skills and his interesting personal life, as he was married to a Jewish woman during a time when Nazi racism was getting worse. When they got to Antarctica, to a place called the Princess Martha Coast in Queen Maud Land, they started a detailed survey, putting down Nazi flags to mark their territory. They named the area Neuschwabenland after their ship, discovering places without ice and small lakes, which added new details to the map of Antarctica. The mission's 2 Dornier wall planes played a big role, flying over a lot of land and taking more than 16,000 pictures. This huge collection of photos helped people understand the harsh and remote area better. Their work led to finding places like the Shirma Shar Oasis, which later became important for science. But the timing of the trip, just before World War II, and the involvement of groups like the Thule Society, made people wonder if the mission had hidden goals. Some thought they were trying to set up a secret military base, or find ancient treasures, and even make contact with a superior race some believed lived inside the Earth. Even though these stories are interesting, there's no solid proof for these wild ideas. The real reason behind the expedition seems to be strategic, looking for resources during a time when everyone was trying to grab unclaimed lands, knowing a big war was coming. The mission's secrets and its connection to Nazi mysteries have made the new Swabia expedition a topic of fascination and speculation. The stories around the Nazis in Antarctica, especially about the MS Schwabenland ship and a secret place called Base 211 in New Swabia, sound like they're from a fiction book. This mission in the late 1930s is full of stories about hidden bases and advanced tech. The area they explored, now known as Queen Maud Land, was special because it had places without ice and even plants, heated by natural hot springs. This led to rumors about a strong Nazi base called Station 211 hidden in the mountains. Admiral Byrd's later mission to Antarctica in 1946-47 with a big military team is sometimes said to have been looking for Nazi secrets. The mission ended early, making people guess they might have found something strange or advanced. Some people don't believe in Base 211 because there's no strong proof. But the story keeps going, with talk about Nazi secrets and even a special plane, the Ju 390, that disappeared. These stories mix real history with mysteries that no one can prove, keeping the legend of the Nazi mission to Antarctica alive. Meet a true trailblazer, Admiral Byrd, whose story mixes courage, new ideas, and the quest for the unexplored. The pioneering explorations of Richard E. Byrd. Richard E. Byrd's story is like something out of a legend. He wasn't your typical explorer or soldier. Byrd was a pioneer, journeying to the farthest corners of our planet. By 41, he'd already made history as the youngest admiral ever in the U.S. Navy, showing everyone his natural leadership and courage. He collected top honors like the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross, proving his outstanding bravery and dedication time and again. Byrd's passion for new adventures and discoveries was immense, reminding us of the boldness of early American settlers or Europeans expanding their empires. Yet, Byrd was unique in his time. Known as the last explorer, he bravely entered the shrinking unknowns of the polar ice caps. His expeditions were more than just tests of endurance. They were important scientific missions. Byrd was incredible at planning and leading huge expeditions to some of the toughest places on Earth, paving the way for the explorers who would follow, including those venturing into space, even though he often had to rely on his own funding to make these journeys happen. Byrd was also an early aviation innovator, making big contributions to how we navigate the skies. He came up with new tools and methods that helped pilots safely cross the Atlantic long before it became common. He even tried to fly solo across the Atlantic before Charles Lindbergh made his famous flight. Although he faced many challenges, like being forced to retire early because of an injury and not always getting along with other military leaders, Byrd's unwavering determination led him back to service, where he continued to push the boundaries of aviation and exploration. Operation Highjump is another chapter in Byrd's incredible story. In 1946-47, he led one of the biggest U.S. Navy missions to Antarctica. This wasn't just any mission. It was a massive demonstration of American might, and an attempt to learn more about a continent that was still, mostly, a mystery. With 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and 4,700 people, it was clear this mission was about more than just training. The enormous scale of Operation Highjump hinted at other, more strategic goals, likely influenced by the tense political climate of the Cold War era. The mission ran into a lot of problems, one of the biggest being the crash of the George I plane. This was a sad moment because it led to the first American deaths in Antarctica. But the mission managed to do some of the things it set out to do. They set up stations to keep an eye on the weather and started making detailed maps of Antarctica from the air. These first steps were really important for anyone who wanted to explore or study Antarctica later on. Admiral Byrd, who was very famous for his explorations, was supposed to lead this mission. But because he wasn't in good health and the Navy was really in charge, it seems like Byrd's main role was to make the mission look good and credible. The mission ended a lot sooner than planned because winter was coming and the weather was getting worse. This sudden end left a lot of planned work unfinished. After the mission, Byrd talked about how the US needed to be more careful about its security, especially around the poles. This makes it seem like the mission had more to do with military stuff than just exploring and studying. But if we're being honest, the mission wasn't really about training or doing science. People who saw what happened, documents that were released later, and even things Byrd wrote himself suggest there was more going on. Part of the mission was about trying to claim Antarctica for America, even though the US government kept saying that wasn't true. The other, even more interesting part, was about trying to find and take apart a hidden Nazi base called Base 211, and maybe even find some strange technology, like flying saucers. The mission really got started on January 15th, when they began setting up a base called Little America. But things didn't go as planned. Even though they were supposed to be there for up to 8 months, they suddenly left after just 40 days. This big, expensive mission was over just like that. So what made them leave Antarctica so quickly? Byrd's adventure, which was already pretty incredible, becomes even more mysterious here. It adds a layer of mystery and intrigue to his story that people will probably be trying to figure out for a long time. Hear the rumors of a mission that ended too soon, filled with tales of fast-flying mysteries and threats from the skies. The unexplained side of Operation Highjump. When the ships from Operation Highjump docked in Chile, rumors quickly spread about their early return and the odd things they might have found. Admiral Byrd, known for his exploration rather than stirring rumors, made things even more intriguing by talking openly about possible threats from the sky to the US. He mentioned seeing incredibly fast objects that could go from one end of the Earth to the other. This wasn't the usual chatter you'd expect from someone known for mapping unknown lands and weather patterns. Byrd's warnings after the mission caught everyone's attention. He said that America had to be ready for attacks coming from the colder parts of the world, hinting at a powerful new enemy that could strike over long distances extremely quickly. Once Byrd got back to Washington, he was quickly brought in for questioning. After that, he stopped talking about what happened during Highjump. The whole mission was then stamped as top secret, and anyone who tried to talk about it risked getting into serious trouble. The goals and what actually happened during Operation Highjump have sparked a lot of wild stories, including tales of encounters with alien tech and hidden bases used by the Nazis. The mission was supposed to be about getting the military ready and doing scientific research. Yet they brought a huge amount of gear and people, which seemed too much for just some research and setting up bases. The way the mission was suddenly shut down, along with the scary things Byrd said afterward, and the fact that parts of the mission were kept secret, all make people wonder what really went on in Antarctica after the war. The story of Byrd's secret diary throws even more fuel on the fire of conspiracy theories. Some sources, like Media Monarchy and the National War Council, talk about this diary detailing an amazing adventure where Byrd saw things that shouldn't exist, like ancient animals and a city hidden under the earth. He even wrote about meeting beings with advanced flying machines marked with swastikas, suggesting a connection to secret Nazi projects or even contact with aliens. This mix of real events, speculation, and elements straight out of a science fiction story keeps the debate over Byrd's diary and the true nature of Operation Highjump alive. Whether it's fact or fiction, or somewhere in between, Byrd's supposed diary and the mysteries of Highjump continue to intrigue and puzzle those who stumble upon this fascinating slice of history. Dennis Crenshaw, a researcher into the idea of a hollow Earth, has critically examined the supposed secret diary of Admiral Byrd, and he's raised quite a few eyebrows with his findings. He points out that when Byrd was supposedly flying over the North Pole and making these fantastic discoveries, he was actually busy leading Operation Highjump. This was the biggest mission to Antarctica at the time, which would have made any secret trip to the North Pole a bit tricky, to say the least. Crenshaw also points out how Byrd's diary talks about seeing sunlight at a time of year when the Arctic is pitch dark 24/7, which doesn't add up. This clash between what sounds like an incredible adventure and the actual facts has led some to think that this diary might lean more towards being a piece of fiction rather than a real account. Moreover, Byrd's worries about threats from the skies and pushing for better U.S. defenses when he returned from Antarctica don't fit with the otherworldly tales in the diary. It seems like there might be a mix of real concerns and possibly made-up stories or over-exaggerations. Admiral Byrd's supposed diary has definitely captured people's imaginations, talking about a flight to an inner Earth filled with green valleys, dinosaurs, and advanced civilizations. It ties into the hollow Earth theory, which imagines a whole other world inside our planet, complete with its own advanced societies, or even aliens. But when someone like Dennis Crenshaw digs into the diary's details, things start to look a bit shaky. The timing of Byrd's supposed secret flight and what we know he was actually doing at the time, leading Operation Highjump, make the story hard to believe. Plus, the diary's mention of sunlight during the Arctic's dark winter months just doesn't fit with reality. Even though Byrd's diary presents a tale straight out of a high-adventure novel, merging the thrill of exploration with elements of science fiction, it's important to separate fact from fiction. Byrd is one of America's most celebrated explorers, and his real accomplishments don't need embellishment. Now, a camp full of strange lights and unknown objects in Antarctica, where reality meets the unknown. The camp at the edge of the world. Deep in the frozen expanse of Antarctica, there's a tale that seems more like a conspiracy theory than real history. This unusual story took place at a remote outpost called Camp Little America back in 1991. Mysteriously, some documents appeared out of thin air, revealing a narrative that was almost too strange to be believed. Barely 48 hours after their arrival, the expedition team witnessed an extraordinary sight. The sky above them was lit up by brilliant lights that danced and twirled, mimicking the signal lamps of ships calling in the night. However, it's vital to remember that this occurred in the Antarctic Circle, a place notoriously void of the usual sea traffic, making the familiar suddenly seem alien and distant. The incident that followed was even more baffling. The lights observed were not from any known vessel. Instead, these illuminations performed a ballet in the heavens, shifting hues and moving in formations that captivated all who saw them. The team pondered over this spectacle, wondering if they were observing some uncommon atmospheric event. Yet a feeling persisted among many that they were witnessing phenomena that were not just unexplained, but possibly unearthly. Come the dawn, an even more curious discovery was made on the frozen surface. A metallic object, unlike any known material or technology, was found resting on the ice. It was remarkably lightweight, yet extraordinarily durable, adorned with indecipherable symbols that confounded everyone. This find deepened the enigma of the nocturnal light show. The group was divided over their next steps. Some advocated for reporting their findings, convinced they had stumbled upon evidence of alien existence. Others feared mockery or repercussions that might follow such extraordinary claims. Ultimately, the decision was to meticulously record their experiences, capturing everything through photographs and detailed notes in hopes of uncovering further proof before making their discovery public. As time progressed, the series of peculiar events did not cease. Equipment vanished only to reappear in locales that defied logic. The enigmatic lights persisted, and some among the crew claimed to hear ethereal whispers emanating from the ice itself. A pivotal moment occurred when a sudden tempest confined them to their base for an extended period. In the throes of isolation, awaiting a break in the weather, they stumbled upon a subterranean cavern. The atmosphere inside was anomalously warm, and the walls bore more of the mysterious symbols previously discovered. The cavern stretched deep into the shadows, instilling a palpable feeling of being under surveillance. With the expedition drawing to a close, the team prepared to leave, taking with them the physical evidence of their experience, but leaving countless unanswered questions. The papers that showed up in 1991 were basically the team's own detailed reports, filled with their observations, sketches, and lots of questions that nobody could answer. Even now, the events at Camp Little America are seen as a highly debated part of the history of exploring Antarctica, offering a story filled with mysteries that question what we know about our world. These lights, not content with staying close to the ground, shot up into the sky at a sharp 45-degree angle, leaving those watching puzzled and unable to track them with radar. But the show wasn't over. Just a few hours later, the sky lit up again with 5 more lights racing towards the ships. The sailors, thinking they were under attack, fired their guns and cannons at them, but it was as useless as trying to stop a giant wave with stones. The story gets even weirder, with a radio operator from the USS Brownson saying that strange vehicles came up from the deep sea, a tale that Lieutenant John Sayerson also told, talking about things shooting out of the water too fast to be normal. One of these things flew right past his ship, making the radio antenna go crazy. The situation got even more intense with a plane from the USS Kurutuk being destroyed by a beam of energy, like something from a sci-fi movie, and the USS Maddox catching on fire and being destroyed. In the weeks that followed, they faced more mysterious events that felt like they were fighting an unseen enemy, leading them to stop their mission sooner than planned. Lieutenant Sayerson wondered if all this was caused by technology left over from the Third Reich, hidden away in an Antarctic base. This idea kept people guessing and still does, leaving the real story of Operation Highjump a mystery. The most unbelievable part of their journey was when Admiral Byrd met the Ariani, people from a civilization with really advanced tech and all with blonde hair, who thought humans were too careless with nuclear weapons. They were upset that their attempts at making peace were rejected and decided to send Admiral Byrd back to tell everyone, hoping his fame would make people listen. So Admiral Byrd's plane was taken over by some unseen force and flew him back, leaving a story behind that's as puzzling as the intentions of the Ariani. Follow Admiral Byrd's bold adventures to the icy ends of the Earth, where bravery meets intrigue. Is the tale of Admiral Byrd true or made up? Admiral Richard E. Byrd stands as a towering figure in American history, celebrated for his daring explorations of the Earth's most remote frontiers. As both a naval officer and a pioneering aviator, Byrd's journeys to the poles have left an indelible mark on the annals of exploration. Throughout his career, Byrd undertook several groundbreaking expeditions, including a historic flight that soared above the South Pole. These adventures not only demonstrated Byrd's bravery, but also his innovative spirit, earning him prestigious awards like the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross. The story of Operation Highjump, which Byrd spearheaded from 1946 to 1947, is particularly noteworthy. This massive Antarctic expedition aimed to set up Little America 4, a research base, but was cut short by the daunting conditions of the Antarctic winter and various operational difficulties. Like many of Byrd's ventures, Operation Highjump was characterized by its lofty ambitions and the stark challenges of exploring polar regions. Tragically, the operation also witnessed the loss of several crew members in aviation accidents, highlighting the inherent risks of such daring undertakings. Despite the enthralling tales of secret diaries, enigmatic messages, and undiscovered lands that have emerged around Byrd's legacy, these stories lack solid grounding in established facts or historical documentation. Speculation about Byrd's experiences upon returning from Antarctica, including purported clandestine briefings where he shared messages from a mysterious master, remains unsupported by credible evidence. The real achievements of Byrd, alongside the documented trials faced during Operation Highjump, stand in stark contrast to these speculative narratives. Furthermore, the Antarctic Treaty, established 18 months after the alleged secret mission, sought to preserve Antarctica for peaceful and scientific endeavors, ensuring open access to all signing nations. Contrary to the notion that this treaty serves to conceal the continent's mysteries, it underscores a global commitment to shared scientific discovery and international collaboration. Diving into the realms of speculation, the narrative surrounding Byrd's so-called secret diary, unveiled after his passing, reads like a science fiction thriller, replete with accounts of mysterious territories, hidden bases, and advanced civilizations. This narrative aligns with the signing of the Antarctic Treaty, which, while focused on conservation and scientific partnership, is sometimes portrayed as an effort to shield the last untouched wilderness from public scrutiny. The story of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, known for his daring explorations, takes a turn into the realm of mystery, with talks about a hidden diary that supposedly details his incredible journey to the center of the Earth. This tale has sparked all kinds of wild theories, from UFOs to secret Nazi bases and even civilizations in a world inside our planet. But when you look closer, you find a lot of gaps and bits that just don't add up. Some folks, like Dennis Crenshaw, who looks into theories about the Earth being hollow, have pointed out big problems with the story. For example, Byrd was leading a huge expedition in Antarctica called Operation Highjump. At the same time, he was supposed to be flying to the North Pole, according to this secret diary. That makes it pretty tough to believe he was off on a solo adventure to the Arctic. This mismatch between where Byrd was known to be and where the diary claims he went raises a big red flag about the diary's truthfulness. The way the diary is written also makes people skeptical. It's full of excitement and flair, with lots of exclamation points. Very different from the more toned-down style Byrd used in his real writings. Plus, the introduction to this diary was written by Raymond Bernard, a writer deeply into Hollow Earth and UFOs, which makes it seem even less like a genuine document from Byrd. The diary talks a lot about a place called Agartha, a paradise said to be at the Earth's core. This idea of a hidden world inside the Earth has been around in various forms, capturing many people's imaginations. However, there's no real proof that Byrd ever visited such a place, leaving these stories in the realm of legend and speculation. Operation Highjump itself was a big deal, with real concrete goals like setting up a base and doing scientific research. This mission, documented and recognized, doesn't quite fit with the wild adventures described in the so-called secret diary. And then there's the question of Nazis hiding out in Antarctica, another theory tied up with these stories. Antarctica is a place of immense mystery and unexplored lands, but the idea of secret Nazi bases there is a leap that goes way beyond any evidence we actually have. Go back to a German trip to Antarctica, more about getting whale oil than exploring, wrapped in stories and secrets. Secrets of the Third Reich. 1938, Germany sent an expedition to Antarctica, with Captain Alfred Richer in charge. This mission wasn't about claiming land or making scientific discoveries, which are common reasons for such explorations. Rather, it was focused on getting whale oil, important for making margarine, a common food item in Germany back then. This need came about because Adolf Hitler wanted Germany to be able to support itself with essential goods like whale oil, without having to rely on imports that could be cut off if war broke out. The ship Schwabenland was used for this mission, highlighting an interesting story in the history of Antarctic exploration that was more about meeting a basic need for food than about national glory or scientific achievement. The team did some scientific work and even claimed a part of Antarctica for Germany, calling it Neuschwabenland. However, despite some people later suggesting otherwise, there's no real proof that the Nazis set up a lasting base there during or after their expedition. Instead, the discovery of certain items in the Arctic, not the Antarctic, has kept alive the idea that the Nazis were active in the southern polar region. Later on, American and British expeditions, known as Operation Highjump and Operation Tabarin, went to Antarctica, but found no evidence of secret Nazi bases or encounters with anything supernatural, even though these missions had their own air of mystery and were influenced by the tensions of the Cold War period. After World War II, Operation Highjump, under Admiral Richard Byrd, aimed to build the research station Little America 4 and carry out military and scientific tasks in Antarctica. This mission, too, became the subject of speculation, including stories about UFO sightings or finding signs of Nazi activities. However, the real accomplishments of these missions were in mapping new areas, scientific exploration, and understanding the strategic military value of Antarctica at a time when the world's superpowers were very interested in its potential. The story of a Nazi journey to Antarctica, ending in the creation of a hidden base, is an intriguing mix of actual history and imaginative stories. In 1938, Germans really did travel to Antarctica on the MS Schwabenland ship, with goals including staking land claims and boosting the German whale oil industry, which was important for making margarine. This operation, called Neuschwabenland, truly saw the Germans taking photos of large parts of Antarctica and marking their territory with aluminum flags. Yet, World War II started soon after, stopping any further German efforts in Antarctica, and there's no proof that Germans continued their activities there during the war. The story gets more interesting after the war. There were whispers about Operation Highjump, a big American military mission to Antarctica led by Admiral Richard Byrd. It was officially for science and the military, but it ended sooner than expected, sparking rumors. Some of these rumors included encounters with secret Nazi weapons or even UFOs. A newspaper in Chile quoted Byrd suggesting a danger that could zip from one pole to the other, making the story even more intriguing. Still, the truth appears less exciting, with no real evidence of Nazi bases or UFOs in Antarctica. Claims about developing advanced UFOs there are part of these tales without concrete proof. Over time, these stories got mixed up with other legends, like meeting aliens. The things Byrd reportedly discovered, lush green spots in the endless ice, battles with UFOs, and suggestions of underground societies, sound like they're taken from a science fiction book. The Soviet Union's interpretation of Highjump, blending truth, fiction, and maybe a bit of worry, hinted at a huge fight with aliens defending a Nazi stronghold. However, behind these stories of alien meddling and hidden conflicts, the truth is likely more ordinary, with official sources denying such events. But this is where we lean in, with skepticism for the official accounts. The stories go on, the speculation continues, and the enigma of Antarctica, a place as mysterious as it is frozen, stays unsolved. Were there UFOs keeping American explorers away? Did a Nazi base exist? And what about Admiral Byrd's odd side trip, a vanishing act that raises more questions than it answers? For more interesting videos like this, kindly subscribe to our channel and give this video a like.